For months now, we've been talking about the disaster that Disney has on their hands with the woke Snow White movie starring Rachel Zegler. And of course, since that time, it's been delayed. There's rumors about maybe they might be significantly trying to rework it to desperately save that movie. But Rachel Zegler probably has other things to worry about right now because this weekend, she has another movie that's coming out, and it's already breaking records, but not the one she probably wants to break. Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, the Hunger Games prequel starring Rachel Zegler, is releasing today, and it has already set the record for the worst reviewed movie in franchise history and is well on its way to being the lowest box office Hunger Games movie of all time. Rachel Zegler's Hunger Games Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes predicted to have franchise worst opening weekend, and it's by a long shot. And there's a lot of things to look at when we're talking about this. This is not the mainline Hunger Games, right? It's a prequel, so it's not like it's Katniss, not characters that as many people are familiar with, but still, Hunger Games is attached on the title. And as we stand here today, not only is it sitting at a 59% on Rotten Tomatoes, the worst reviewed Hunger Games movie we've seen, but it's also projected to have a pretty miserable opening weekend. Hunger Games Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes looks to sing $100 million plus worldwide opening. Now, to be fair, I think there's a decent chance this movie outperforms the Marvels, at least domestically. Marvels was $108 million worldwide, I believe, ended up being somewhere around $46 million opening weekend. Pathetic for the Marvels, but there is a little bit of a difference there. Even if it does open exactly the same, the ramifications for the Marvels are much worse than it would be for Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes because, according to the reports, the Hunger Games prequel is sitting there at around $100 million production budget. You add in marketing, you factor in the box office cut. This is something that likely needs to make around $300 million at a bare minimum, potentially more, just to break even. The Marvels is a movie that had around a $300 million production budget. That thing is a disaster. That thing's a flop. That is a guaranteed money loser. If Hunger Games opens to this, it'll still be up in the air. It certainly could leg out to 300 million plus, but also it is not a very good opening and would be the worst in franchise history. Right now, we're looking at between 42 and 55 million domestic. That's what's being predicted. The international opening right now is around 50 million as well. Combine it, you get to about $100 million. But compare that to what we've seen in the Hunger Games box office history. This is the Hunger Games franchise, and we've never seen an opening weekend lower than 100 million. And even when that happened back in 2015, people were talking about what a massive disappointment it was. It was a huge disappointment that the Hunger Games movie, the finale, Mockingjay Part 2, only opened to 102.4 million. People looked at that as a fucking nightmare scenario for them. And globally, significantly more. Globally, it was around a $264 million worldwide opening, but only 102 million domestically. Well, the next entry looks like it might not even hit $100 million worldwide in its debut. And yeah, it's embarrassing that it's the worst rated in history, that the critics are very meh on this movie so far. But at the end of the day, the critics are what the critics are. There's movies that the critics like that I absolutely despise. There's movies that the critics hate that I absolutely love. So that's just one thing. We know the studios love to have that fresh score when it comes to Rotten Tomatoes, but I don't think the general audience cares as much. So it's one thing to have the worst rated one in franchise history. The real question will be what the box office looks like when it's all said and done. This opening, if it does say get $100 million, that is not good. That does no way guarantee success, and it would be the worst in franchise history by over half. It would be a pathetic opening. But it also would not be the guaranteed flop, the guaranteed money loser like we saw with the Marvels. In the case of Hunger Games, if it does open like this, everything's going to depend on the legs. Either way, you have to imagine Rachel Zegler, who's already had two massive flops, might have another one on the way and still is looking forward to the disaster that is the Snow White movie. What do you guys think about this? Are you interested in this movie at all? What do you think it'll do at the box office? Will it eventually leg out to that over $300 million this thing's probably going to need to break even? Let me know your thoughts about all this in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.